Hey, and welcome to the Chef's Table, a weekly video series for culinary entrepreneurs who want to monetize their skills outside of the kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Evelyn. This is the place for successful women who want to live, cook, and work on their own terms. So if that's you, let's get started. Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the Chef's Table. It is your girl, Chef Evelyn, and we are rocking and rolling with this season of the Chef's Table, and we're diving really deep about building a high-end culinary brand. So in today's episode, what I want to talk about is kind of the mindset you need to have to build a high-end culinary brand. You know, I mentioned in one of my previous videos that a lot of times people think in order to build a high-end culinary brand, all you have to do is slap on some high prices and serve up some expensive ingredients, and boom, you've got a high-end culinary brand. But what I really want to dig in today is the kind of the intangible ingredients that are really required to build a high-end culinary brand. Now, we've already walked through, like, are you a good fit to build what I like to call a HECB, right? A high-end culinary brand. We've talked about things you need to consider, why this is the time to build that, right? Because people are investing more and more in creating valuable memories with their families and friends, and you definitely need to be a part of that. So what I'm going to go through today is kind of like it's 5 mindsets that you need to have, or mindset shifts that you need to make in order to build a high-end culinary brand. Now, if it's your first time here with me, make sure that you subscribe so that you can get notified of these weekly training videos that I do. And listen, for my ladies, I have created the Chefpreneur Her Society. So if you want to join that, also get on my email list so you can get special updates about any kind of events that I have coming up or special trainings that are not going to be here on YouTube, hint, then make sure you go to chefevelyn.com/society and sign up to join that group. So if this is your first time here, if you see me looking down, it's because I take notes before I record these videos for you, because I want to make sure that I'm giving you value and that as you come back every week, you feel like, you know, that you haven't wasted your time, right? There's a lot of fluff on the internet, and I definitely do not want to be a part of that. So today we're going to be talking about the 5 mindsets you need to have, or the mindset shifts you need to make in order to build and sustain a high-end culinary brand. So the first one is that the focus of your brand is on them, not on you. And when I say them, I'm talking about your potential clients and customers, not just your current clients and customers, right? So we're even talking about people that haven't ever given you a dime, that your focus is on them, right? So one of the things that people always ask me is, like, how do you justify your prices? How are you able to charge premium prices, whether that's from a culinary standpoint or even on my coaching and consulting side? They're like, how are you able to command premium prices? And I always tell them, because that process starts before people ever bring me $1, right? So my focus is always on my current client base and my potential client base. It's just like with these videos. I could come up here and give you guys a whole bunch of fluff. I could come on here unprepared. I could come on here and just try to sell you, right? But that's not really my focus. What I know is that the women that this video is meant to reach will reach, and that the women who are meant to be my clients and work with me will be that, and that those that are not will still get value, even if they never decide to become my client, because maybe they're not a good fit, or maybe right now is not the right time, right? And so if you notice that my intention is external, yes, if people work with me, I get financially compensated for that. Same thing in your business, right? But my focus is on making sure that from the moment you enter the Chef Evelyn bubble, right, the Chef Evelyn world, right, that you feel cared for, you feel taken care of, you feel that value has been added to you. So that's the first thing. You have to have a them mindset versus a you mindset. This doesn't mean that you don't consider yourself, okay? This just means that you start with what's in it for them, right? People always want to know what's in it for them, right? Yes, there's going to be some things in it for you, but what's in it for them? So that's number 1. Number 2 is that the mindset you need to have is that you offer an experience, not a service. And this is anything. It doesn't matter what revenue stream you have going. You can turn any revenue stream into an experience, right? Now, there's not enough time in the container of a 15 to 20 minute YouTube video to go through how to turn any revenue stream that you have into an experience, or even your entire brand into an experience. But if you can think about, what is it going to be like for someone to work with me? What is it going to be like for someone to engage with my brand, right? What is it going to be like when someone becomes a client or a customer, and the experience of that, not just delivering the service, right? So a lot of times people don't know how to price the experience, and because they haven't built it into their business. So once you build in experience into your products and services, you're on your path to creating a high-end culinary brand. Okay. Number 3, right? Number 3, you build a brand that allows you to be fully expressed from a culinary point of view. Meaning, sometimes we build really small, you guys heard me talk about this, containers for our brand, like all the things that you want to be able to do. You either don't have the capacity to do it, or you haven't charged enough to be able to do it, or you haven't allowed yourself enough bandwidth to do it. And if you decide that I'm going to do it the way I really want to do it, and whatever that ends up costing, that's just what it's going to be, right? And you allow yourself to be fully expressed, just know that there are people out there looking for the highest version of you, right? From a culinary standpoint, from your business standpoint, from your brand standpoint. There are people who don't want the this'll do level. There are people who may not even be drawn to this is really good level. There are people who are like, I want to see everything that you can do, every idea that's in that head of yours, right? But you have to build a brand, like we talked about before, that's big enough to hold all of those ideas that you have, right? So you want to make sure that you can be fully expressed from a culinary point of view, okay? And I'll give you an example. One of the things that I struggled with initially when I was doing personal chef work, and I was doing like dinner parties for couples, is I really love decor, and I really love to set the scene, right? So yes, chef, but also if I was doing, a dinner for 2 or a dinner for 12 or dinner for 16, I also, am a little crafty at floral arranging, right? And doing tablescapes. And so I included that in my package. And I remember in the very beginning, I had people who were like, oh, I don't need that. We just want the meal. And they wanted me to negotiate my rate, right? We talked about this in a previous video. And it just didn't feel good. I didn't know how to bring them, a beautiful dinner on a bare table, right? And so I decided that that was no longer a negotiable, that was part of the package. And if people wanted to, so I increased my rates to be able to compensate for that, depending on the size of the party. And if people didn't want that, then the price still was the same, right? It didn't go down. That's just what it was, to the point where I almost didn't even tell people that it was part of the package. It was just like an added bonus, but I needed to be fully expressed. I wanted to see the joy and the surprise and the awe from my client when they were like, oh, we thought you were just going to feed us a meal, but you've given us candlelight and you've given us, decor. And I'm not saying that's what you have to do, but think about the things that you really have wanted to include in your business, in your blog, in your products, and your services that you haven't taken the time to put in, and you haven't taken the time to charge for, right? But having that mindset of I'm going to be fully expressed, and if that means that I have to go up in what the investment is to work with me, then so be it. But I don't want to have to stifle myself or stick my creativity in a small box. You want to be able to be fully expressed, okay? So number 4, the mindset that you need to have for a high-end culinary brand. Ooh, can I talk today? Thank you very much. Listen, I don't really heavily edit these videos, so sometimes you're going to get what you get, right? But tip number 4, or point number 4 of the mindset you need to have in order to build a high-end culinary brand, is that you decided you want to be the best in class. Okay, you want to be the best in class, meaning for where you are, for your brand level, you want to be the best at what you do, right? This doesn't mean that other people aren't great. It doesn't mean they aren't fantastic. It doesn't mean that they're not amazing. As a matter of fact, this has nothing to do with anyone else. You want to feel like, and you want to know that you're doing your best, right? That you're doing all that you know how to do, that you're bringing them your A game, your A plus game, your 110% every single time. And so in order to do that, you need the space, again, that container, again, the pricing that allows you to do that, right? So when you know that I'm only going to offer top shelf service, like I'm never going to give you mid-range service, I'm never going to give you bottom shelf service, that's just not who you are. You don't even like to function at those levels, right? You don't even order off the bottom shelf. No offense to people who do. You're a top chef kind of person, okay? For those of you who enjoy adult beverages, you know this reference here. Then decide to be that way in your business, right? And make it a non-negotiable. And anybody that's wanting less of you, just let them know, hey, that's not something I really do, but thank you so much for considering me, right? And keep it pushing, okay? And then the fifth mindset that you need to have, or the mindset shift that you need to make in order to build a high-end culinary brand, is that you have decided that you are going to do and invest whatever you need to do and whatever you need to invest to be able to bring this brand to fruition. Meaning, I did a post recently on Instagram. By the time you see in this video, will have been several weeks. But I talked about like return on investment, meaning that whatever you put into something and you multiply it, that's what you get out, right? Whether it's time, whether it's resources, energy, money, whatever. And that if you put in a little, you're going to get out a little, right? When you decide to put your best in, your most in, your all in, whatever that needs to be in this season of your life, right? Then you will get out what you put in. But if you put a little in, you get a little out. You put a little in, you get a little out, right? And so if you're here and you've been watching this series on building a high-end culinary brand, you know that $200 is not going to build you a high-end culinary brand, right? Or free, every free webinar, every free ebook, somebody's free blog post, that's not the kind of stuff that's going to get you this kind of brand. Like, that you're going to have to put in the time, you're going to have to put in the energy, you're going to have to put in the effort. And yes, you're going to have to put in the resources when the time is right to be able to build this container. Because if you want to extract that amount of dollars, what have you put into it, right? So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I think this is a little bit of a shorter video today. I have to look at the time. But like I said, if you are not following me on Instagram, make sure you do so you can see what I'm doing behind the scenes. And you can find me there at Chef Evelyn. And also make sure to join the Chefpreneur Society. And you can do that by going to chefevelyn.com/society. And I'll see you there. Peace. Now, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you never miss a new episode. And to see what I'm cooking up behind the scenes, make sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Chef Evelyn. That's all for today, and I'll see you next week. Peace.